Hi, I'm Maggie. Welcome to Experiments in Crafting. Today I'm going to be showing you some new yarns. One of the big ones that I want to show off tonight are the two new color packs from Scheepjes. I know I mispronounced that, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. They have the full color pack of river washed and stone washed. And then they also have the whole color pack of the Katonah yarn. So I'm going to unbox those and show those off. And then I have a handful of other yarns from a variety of different brands. Some new Lion brand, some new Red Heart, just some interesting things to show off tonight. So I'm going to start with some of the big box brands, and then I will get into the Scheepjes yarn in just a few minutes. All right, so one of the things that I noticed recently was that Lion Brand released two new yarns, this Comfy Cotton Blend and Flikka, and online they looked identical. And so I wanted to get my hands on some and compare them. And as far as I can tell, they are exactly the same yarn. They're both 50-50 cotton polyester. Yeah, cotton polyester blends. They come in a different colors than, like, each line has its own colorways, and I didn't see much overlap in those, but they look identical. They have the same heathered look to them. You can see that there's kind of a tighter yarn spun around like a loosely spun yarn. Both of those have that same quality. Really, the only difference that I've noticed is form factor. The Comfy Cotton Blend is sold in 200-gram cakes. The Flikka is sold in 100-gram skeins. And really, that's the only difference I can tell. The Comfy Cotton does come in a solid white, and I've noticed that a lot of people online are dyeing that. And because it's the cotton polyester blend, you can use like RIT box dye, and the cotton will take the dye, but the polyester won't. And so you still get this same look where part of it is like white and the rest is dyed. So if you wanted to mess around with dyeing, you can give that a try. But as far as I've seen, only the Comfy Cotton comes in the white. So if you want to try that, you'd have to go with the Comfy Cotton. The other thing is that there doesn't seem to be overlap in stores that carry them. So I think Comfy Cotton is available at Walmart, and I think it's supposed to be available at Joann Fabric. The Flikka I found at Hobby Lobby, but I think is also supposed to be available at some Michaels stores. So depending on what you have near you, that might, affect which one you can get. So I only bought the Flikka in one colorway, really, because I just wanted to compare it. But I do have a handful of colorways in the Comfy Cotton Blend. So that's these guys. Comes in kind of fun colors. It's not the softest yarn, but because it's 50% cotton, I think that it would soften up with some wash. So just keep that in mind when you're buying it, that it might soften up a little bit as you wash it, because it is that cotton blend. So I'm going to set these aside. If you've got any questions tonight about any of the yarns that I'm showing off here, or any crochet questions in general, just let me know and leave those in the chat, and I will answer those as they pop up. If you're watching this video later on and you have questions, go ahead and leave those in the comment section below. The next yarns that I have are from Red Heart, and this is the Red Heart Amore. And I saw this in the store, and I thought that it had to be identical to one of the yarns that I showed you before, which was the Lion brand Feels Like Butter. And really, in look, in feel, in material, they're absolutely identical. They're both this chainette style yarn, which looks like little links, and I don't know if you can quite see that on camera, but it's an interesting and very unique look, except that two very different brands have it. This one's wrapped a little bit tighter, so this one's got a little bit more like poof to it, but I think they're basically identical. The Feels Like Butter comes in 100 gram, 218 yard balls. The Amore comes in 100 gram, 198. So we're talking 20 yards difference. There's not a whole lot of difference in weight or anything like that. They're both 100% polyester. They're both incredibly soft. I think if you found a pattern for one of these and you couldn't get it, I actually haven't seen this Feels Like Butter in stores yet. I know Joanne Faber carries it online, and that's where I got this one. But these are readily available. I've seen them at a couple of stores now. I know that Hobby Lobby had them, and I picked these up at Walmart. So these are a lot more available. So if you found a pattern for this yarn from, say, Lion Brand's website, I'm positive you could sub this yarn in without a problem. And vice versa. If you had a pattern for these, you could sub these in. Oh, there's a question. Oh, and somebody's saying that I assume we're talking about the Comfy Cotton and the Flikka, that they're identical except for colors. And yeah, as far as I can tell, they are identical except for colors. And so whichever one you can get, just keep that in mind. Like if you're looking at patterns for the Flikka yarn, that you can sub in Comfy Cotton without a problem. And really, as far as I can tell, I think the Comfy Cotton sells for $10 and the Flikka sells for $5. So you're not even saving any money by buying the bigger ball. It's pretty much exactly the same whether you buy the 100 gram or the 200. You're just paying $5 per 100 grams. So, oh, okay. So that's good to know. That somebody's commenting that the Feels Like Butter was available at Hobby Lobby this summer. I don't think I've seen it at mine, but that I'm sure varies from store to store. So I have been noticing more Lion Brand at Hobby Lobby. Generally, they tend to carry their own brands, but as we'll get to in a minute here, they are carrying some interesting stuff right now. So, all right. This is a yarn that I picked up. I've been seeing a lot of posts online recently about this Hyuga yarn. It's the word or the name of it is, I think Danish, and now I say that, and I just looked it up, and now I forgot. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Danish. It has something to do with the feeling of coziness. And this is actually a very cozy feeling yarn. It's a really nice feeling yarn from Red Heart. It's 70% acrylic, 30% nylon. It's a bulky weight yarn. But one of the things that I really wanted to point out about this yarn was that it's a fuzzy yarn. But because it's bulky, you can really still see the yarn. And I don't think it would be that difficult to work with. I did choose a really dark color, and it did come in some lighter colors. All of the colorways seem to be home themed, so they're kind of, they're warm, homey colors. They're not bright colors, and they're not baby colors, I guess is what I'm getting at. They came in navy blue and brown and burgundy, stuff like that. So nice fall colors for your house. But yeah, really one of the things that I wanted to point out on this is I've seen some projects and they all look really fuzzy, and fuzzy yarns are notoriously difficult to work with, but I think that this one will not be terrible. Now, I'm saying that just based on initial impression, so I might stand corrected in a couple of weeks when I actually get to work with this, but it is a very nice feeling yarn. If these little fibers don't come off, and they don't seem to be coming loose, so if it doesn't shed like terrible, I think that this will be a decent yarn to work with. I've seen a lot of sweaters and ponchos being made out of this right now, so just something I wanted to pick up and show off and just give you guys some initial thoughts on. This one I did pick up at Walmart. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but that doesn't mean that they're not carrying it other places because I really hadn't been looking for it. Just sort of came across this tonight. So set that aside. So I'm not sure which yarn we're talking about, but if we're talking about this one, I think what they're suggesting a blanket, and it looks like a pretty throw on the label. I know Moogly Blog has a I don't really know if you want to call it a sweater, but sort of like a wrap poncho-y type of thing that looked really soft and cozy and like something that I might want to actually make for myself. It's, like I said, it's really soft and really fluffy. So I think the sky's the limit as far as what you could make out of this, but I think I would probably avoid things that I would keep near my face. So I probably wouldn't make like a hat out of it, just because it's kind of fuzzy and crazy, but you could. And I probably wouldn't make like a hood or something like that. But as far as like sweaters go, maybe a long scarf, a shawl, a blanket, something like that. Like I said, this word means like the feeling of coziness. I don't think it translates exactly from the original language, but I think anything cozy. So. All right, so now I'm going to get to the main attraction for tonight, and that is these sheep's color packs. And I actually need a knife to open these. It's right there on the corner of the table. So these come taped up. Obviously, they don't want you rifling through them in the store because that would be a giant mess. I've been watching Hobby Lobby for these color packs ever since a friend of mine online told me that they were available. So this is the stonewashed and the river washed yarn. The stonewashed and the river washed are basically identical, except as far as I can tell, the only difference is that stonewashed yarn is a color and white, but river washed yarn is a color and another color. So try and get those centered in the camera there. Here's a river washed yarn. And this one is blue and sort of like a reddish pink versus a stonewashed yarn where this one is gold and white. So as far as I see through the pack, all of the stonewashed ones are a color and white. River washed is a color and another color. And even some of the ones that look like this is a river washed one, and so it sort of looks like it's pink and white, but I think it's actually pink and gray. It's not the same as, say, well, we can kind of go through all the colors here and just see all the different ones. But these color packs are interesting, and I'm not 100% sure. These color packs, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with them. But they're really cool to be able to see all of the colors all at once. They're very similar to the Lion brand bonbons in size. Actually, I have some of those over here if I reach. So these are the Lion brand bonbons, which have been available for ever and ever, as far as I know. These you can get at like Joann Fabric. And you just use them for little projects and little bits of color. So you could probably just sub in one of the sheep's color packs. But if you're a designer, or if you are working with, say, amigurumi or something like that, and you wanted to see all the colors available, or you just needed small amounts for a project, I think this would be really cool. They're a little bit expensive store price. So this pack here is it was $50, and it contains 50 colors, I think. Yeah, 50 colors. I got to do math because they listed them separately. It's 36 colors of stone washed and 14 of river washed. And this is every color that Scheepjes currently makes. So $50. But the thing to keep in mind is that Hobby Lobby always has a single 40% off coupon. And so if you take the 40% off, you're down to $30, and then it gets a little bit more, you know what I mean? It's more in a reasonable price bracket. So I'm going to set this aside, and if anyone has any questions about this, or if you want to see a specific color, just let me know. Oh, how many yards do you get each one? It is saying that they're 10 grams a piece, and they're 26 meters. Which is, I think that this conversion is probably wrong. It says 0.28 yards, but I assume that they actually mean 28 yards. Yeah, so he's saying 28.4 yards. So about 28 yards. They're recommending a 3.5 millimeter hook. I've used this the stone-washed yarn for a little giraffe that I made for a friend's newborn, and I absolutely loved this yarn. So if you're thinking about getting some of this, it's still a little bit hard to get in the US because it is imported from the Netherlands. You can get it on some online stores and a few like local yarn shops, but I've actually had really good luck with Wool Warehouse in getting this reliably and them having good stock on colors. Shipping to the US is pretty reasonable, so and honestly pretty fast. So that's where I've been getting mine, but it's really nice to be able to see all the colors in person and make my decisions on which ones I want to use for bigger projects. So I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to open up this one. This one has 109, all of this Katonah yarn. So there's 109 different colors, and it's kind of crazy, honestly, how many different colors are in here. I'm just going to start pulling them out because they don't really need to stay in any particular order. Looks like there's a whole bunch of pastels up here in the corner. Lots of purples. I love purple, obviously. But yeah, so I'm just going to dig these guys out of here. And so there is a pattern called the Terrazzo Table Runner. And it requires just a few grams per, so it's made out of squares. It's a really cool pattern. It only requires a few grams of each color to make a square. I think at most it requires 3 grams. So I think I can make most of the squares for the table runner out of the colors that they've included here. And I need something like 30 of the colors, I think. I think there's 6 different squares. Each one has 5 different colors in it. I do know that you need a ton of the black, so I'm going to have to order a big ball of the black. But I'm pretty excited because now I can start on that table runner because I've got all of the colors that I need available to me. This is an interesting feeling yarn. I had them hold it at the Hobby Lobby by me, and they thought, when I checked out with it, they thought it was floss, like embroidery floss. It's actually mercerized cotton, but it's pretty thin. They're also recommending a 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter hook, so it's in the fingering weight area as far as weight goes. So each one of these is also 10 grams, but it's 25 meters. So, which is 27 yards. So I'll keep pulling these out so you guys can see all the colors in here because they're layered. And also it's kind of fun just to make a giant pile of different colors. There's a whole pile here of pale pinks. And some more like corals. Some neutral white. And an ivory. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with all of these, but I know some of them are going to be parts of those squares for that table runner. And if you're interested in seeing that pattern, I'll put it in the description once this video actually posts when I'm done being live. All right, there's the whole pack. So, pretty much every color you could ever want. Doesn't appear to be any repeats, but I don't even know how you'd know at this point. It claims that we get all 109 colors with no repeats, so I'll trust them on that. But yeah, it's mercerized cotton. It looks nice. It's a little bit tough because it's got that like coating on it, but I don't know. It's going to be fun to do something with these. I suppose you could just make some sort of blanket and just start with one color and try and put them in order from white to black and, you know, go through the whole rainbow or something. I don't know. Oh, this pack was $80. But again, you can use a 40% off coupon. And since I bought these at 2 different stores at 2 different times, I was able to use a coupon on each one. So that brings you down to $56. And for this much yarn, that's probably a pretty decent deal, especially since you didn't have to pay to ship it internationally. These are pretty difficult to come by. I've waited a week or two now. And every time I've made it to Hobby Lobby, they've been out. So the store that I went to this morning had just the stone washed and river washed. They had already sold the Katonah one. And then the store that I went to in the afternoon had one of each. And so I bought the only Katonah one leaving them with one stone washed, river washed pack. And it seems like they're getting about one a week. So, I don't know. If you had a friend who was really into making either things with lots of color or things with little pops of color, you probably could use this for some sort of embroidery or maybe weaving or something very small. It would probably be a great Christmas present for somebody. But yeah, I don't know. If you've got any questions about this yarn, I just wanted to share this with you. Like I said, it's been pretty hard to get a hold of, and so there haven't been a lot of videos and reviews or anything like that. So, just kind of something fun to do tonight. All right. One last thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that I have been working on this pumpkin wreath, and the video on how to make this wreath should be available by the end of the week, I'm hoping, which should give you enough time to make it in time for Halloween. But of course, pumpkin decor is good through Thanksgiving. So still got the rest of the fall if you do make it, to display it. I actually came up with this design last year and I wanted to get something together, but didn't really have the YouTube channel going, and so this year I got it together. If you want to follow along with the video as soon as it comes out, you're going to need Bernat Blanket in Carrot Orange and in Go-Go Green, and these are the Bernat Blanket Brights. You'll also need a wreath, and mine is from the dollar store. So, but yeah, so if you want to follow along with this as soon as it comes out, that's what you'll need for that. So it's made with all super easy stitches, single crochet, double crochet. I think there's a little bit of half double crochet in here, single crochet in the back loops, and slip stitches. And really that's about it. The leaf does call for a magic circle, but you can get around that. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask those now, and I will keep an eye on the chat for a minute here. I'm not seeing any, but that doesn't mean my phone's not frozen. Okay. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap things up for tonight. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comment section. If you want to see what I do with this Katonah or Katonah yarn or with the river washed yarn, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and also to Facebook and Instagram, where I'll post pictures. Sometimes I post pictures of things that I don't make videos for. So make sure you're sometimes I post pictures to Instagram or Facebook. Both of those are at Experiments in Crafting. I'll post things there that I don't make videos for. So again, make sure you're subscribed all over the place, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Oh, wait. I guess there's a question. Yes, if I get that table runner, it's going to take me some time because it's all made of squares. And there's a ton of color changes, which means there are a ton of ends to weave in. But yes, I will post pictures of the table runner. I will also post a link to the pattern. It's sort of confusing because the pattern itself is free for the table runner, but for the square that makes up the table runner, I believe that's a paid pattern. So you have to get that pattern, and then the assembly directions and the color changes for the square. That part is free. So, yeah, I will definitely post the pattern, and I will post updates on Instagram and Facebook of the table runner. And then once I get some of that worked up, I may post a review of the Katonah yarn. I won't do a tutorial on the table runner or on the pattern itself because those are not mine. So I usually only do tutorials on things that are actually mine. However, I might be doing a tutorial soon on how to change colors and carry colors through a pattern. So that might be of some interest, especially if you get a color pack like this and you want to change colors back and forth. So, all right. Well, with that being said, have a good night, and I will be on chat for a few more minutes if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, once the video processes, you can leave me comments in the comment section. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.